Man, it really is fun to drive the ball long and straight. And what's especially fun is when your swing repeats and you're able to hit it long and straight pretty much every time. But I know that a lot of you out there are still struggling with slicing the ball, and despite watching lots of YouTube videos, reading lots of Golf Digest, you still have not solved the problem of how to get rid of your slice. So right after this, I'm going to go into the real secret of why most golfers slice. You probably haven't ever heard this before, and I think it's going to help you start drawing the ball, get lots more distance, and hit more fairways. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I continue on my mission to hit the ball longer and straighter than ever before, regain all the distance from my youth and then some, lower my scores, have more fun. That's just the name of the game to me. If you agree and you'd like to pick up a few more yards and drop a few strokes off your score, I hope you'll join me. Hit the subscribe button right down there. Like this video at the end if you got something out of it. All right, so despite all the advancements in technology and instruction and equipment especially, remember all the times that new club, they promised you that you weren't going to slice with it anymore and you still figured out a way to do it? Well, this video is definitely for you, and it might be something you have not heard before. So let's get into it. All right, I've got my trusty hula hoop one more time to give you a nice illustration of what really causes a slice. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you've probably seen a video or two where I use a water ski trick to help show you the way that the club head responds to the path of the handle as you go through impact. It's very important what this end of the stick does because of how much influence it has on this much of the stick. And so what we're talking about is and I'll put it up on the screen here, we're talking about the around the boat trick, and it shows you what happens when the boat turns hard left. The skier responds by getting whipped out and around the boat. In many cases, the skier can actually speed up and accelerate so rapidly that they can catch up and pass the boat, kind of like what you're seeing in this video. Now, if you had an ant swinging, this would be very easy. There's an ant. It's the world's strongest ant. He swings on a horizontal swing plane. So just like this. Okay. So just close to horizontal. Now, this would be the boat. The club head would be the skier, and the shaft is the tow rope. Okay, so if I just took the boat and I kept driving it straight down the river, you see what would happen to the club face. The club face is going to end up wide open. There just wasn't any impulse to send the club around to square up. We got to get the club to here at impact. And again, we're just simplifying this by using a horizontal swing plane. Okay, so if I make the boat turn left, hard left like this in a curve, I can easily get the club head to accelerate around the circle, which of course gives it more speed, but more importantly to you, it makes the face square up with the target line. Okay, so you can see if we swing on more of a horizontal plane and we can get the handle curving, we can never slice the ball in theory. Now, here's where we get into trouble with most slicers. So what are the normal reasons they tell you that you slice are? Number one, that you come outside to in. And since club path on a driver has around 15, 16, 17% of the influence only, that's really not the reason you're slicing. It's not path. Path would just contribute maybe to some pulls. It's not the reason you're slicing. A closer reason would be that the club face is open relative to that path, And especially bad slicers will have the club face open relative to the fairway as they swing out to in. So if I angle the face open like this, and I cut across from outside to in, I can hit a pretty good mega slice. However, here's the problem. Let's say I fix the path. If I don't fix the face, I'm going to come from the inside this time, but the face is still more open than my path is to the right. So now I'm just going to start it further right, and it's going to slice almost as bad. It's going to end up in the same spot, way over in the right trees. Now, certainly we're on the right track when we say that face-to-path relationship is a big reason why we slice. However, it begs the question, okay, smart guys, so now why does my club face continue to be so open to my path? I've messed around with my path. I've tried my best to square the club face to that path, and yet I'm still having a major struggle with a slice. Otherwise, I'd be an awesome golfer by now, and I wouldn't have had to buy all my new clubs and watch these stupid YouTube videos. Okay, so the answer lies in kind of the inverse of that water ski exercise that we just looked at. But instead of looking at it on the horizontal, let's now look at it on the vertical. So we're going to pretend now that we've taken the river and the ski boat and the skier and we've turned them vertical. So this means that instead of the boat, when it turns, it's not going to turn left, it's going to turn up. And the skier, therefore, will be accelerated around the circle down. So if that makes sense, the skier will get whipped around. Now that sounds good. It sounds like it's going to make the club whip around the circle and we get more speed. However, let's take a look at what happens to the face. So here we are, and we're in good shape right here in the slot. And now the boat is going to turn, it's going to go down up like this. Now see, the problem with this is, yeah, sure, the club head gets accelerated. See that? Whoom. But unfortunately, there's no impetus for the face to get square. That's a problem. That's going to be an enormous slice, and it's very hard to try to put either muscle the club out to the ball and square it up, or flip the face over. One of those two things will have to happen in lieu of having the right swing plane and the right handle path. Okay, so what we're after, and again, it's a swing that is too vertical with the hand path, and this comes a lot with the over the top. But see how vertical now my club is coming down to the ground. I've gotten above the swing plane at the top, I'm over the top, but now my handle is coming and the club is swinging too vertically. Especially the handle path has too much vertical to its travel around and through impact. We've really got to take the handle path. And so a lot of people are here, and there's our outside in component right there. So there's the typical slicer right here. So while out to in, yes, it's a symptom, but fixing the out to in by itself is not going to fix the slice in a lot of cases. What we have to do instead is we have to shallow out the handle path like this. Preferably, sure, let's turn it a little bit inside out as well and try to promote a draw, but this end of the stick has got to be less vertical and much more horizontal. Otherwise, you see, when the boat accelerates up, the club gets whipped down, but the face doesn't square up. Now, if I turn the boat to a 45-degree angle, okay, here's 45 degrees, and now I make the handle curve around a 45-degree handle path, something like this. Okay, so now if I make this thing come around this way instead of this way, See, there's about a 45 now, and here comes the handle path. Okay, that's going to give the kick of the club head in response to the handle path. Watch what happens. Out to the ball and down to the ground, right there. And so the closer you can get the track of your handle onto that perfect swing plane, the more easily your club just kind of naturally comes in and squares up. You don't have to muscle it anymore, and draws start becoming a no-brainer. I see this all the time in my teaching, where I know if I fix the person's handle path, I almost sometimes don't have to do another thing with them. They'll just start hitting draws right away. All right, so great, you say. So now on paper, I understand how to fix a slice. But Steve, show me in real layman's terms, how am I going to fix this problem? Well, I have a drill for you. May have even seen this drill before, but this is a fantastic exercise. Just take a range bucket and a stick, and you're going to set the stick approximately the same angle as you have the club shaft set, something like this. Okay, and then where I have the ball is, I have the bucket a little bit inside the ball line. That's going to help me also swing from the inside. Now, I don't recommend using a graphite shaft for this because the odds if you collide with the stick, then you might break the shaft, and that's kind of expensive. So you want to go slow, and you're just trying to get a gist or a feel of what more of an inside out and shallow hand path feels like. I'm going very slow, and I'm hitting the ball maybe 100 yards with the 9-iron is all. Trying to stay under the stick and inside the basket. And you see, at first I might clunk a few, and you might also, but you just stick with it. The goal is to get the feel for what a very shallow and inside hand path. Now that ball is drawing. The head just kind of whipped around and squared up. Very hard to leave the club face open to the target with this exercise. It just kind of wants to square. And you can really feel it getting kicked around and getting the toe squared up so that you can't miss it open face and slice it. Remember, 9-iron first, slowly, gently. Then you can start working up with a little more speed, a little bit more club. Be very careful if you are going to try to hit driver with a graphite shaft. Swing very gently, so you might knock the stick over, but a good chance you could break the shaft. So don't do it that way. But again, you look at what we're forcing here. We're forcing the swing plane, the handle path, to lay down shallower and be a little bit from the inside. And you can see if I were to come over the top and be very steep on the way down, I'm going to come into the stick like this, and I'm going to knock it over. And that will be your warning sign that you're simply swinging too vertically. So really suggest trying this drill and eventually working your way up to some really soft drivers, 120, 130 yards. And I think you're going to see your slice disappear like magic. Now, if you do, I hope you'll leave a comment down below. Let us know how you did and what your experience was. But in general, just remember that when the handle path or the hand path is too much like a Ferris wheel, like this, makes you leave the club face open, and that makes us slice the ball. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I'm Steve, and hey, if I don't see you in the next video, which I do hope you'll watch, but if I don't, I hope I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.